It's the final day of 2023. It's been an absolutely crazy year. The power creep was dialed all the way to 11 and the game also introduced engaged characters and attuned units. 2023 had its ups and downs, but overall, I'd say it's a pretty great year. I'm going to go over my top 10 favorite units released in 2023. This will span all the units from the bunny-themed New Year's banner all the way up to Legendary Camilla, which is 147 total new units. Also, I've got to add an obligatory opinion warning. These are just my personal favorite units based on a number of factors, including art, voice lines, kit, and personal experience. A unit that you really like may have flown completely under my radar, so please don't take it personally if one of your favorites isn't one of mine. With all that out of the way, let's kick off the list with Number 10. Winter Dimitri. One of my favorite things in Fire Emblem Heroes is when the devs implement the mainline games into the mobile game. Winter Dimitri pulls this off by implementing one of Dimitri's most well-known builds from 3 houses, the Vantage Wrath build. He also introduced No Quarter, which has a very fun animation similar to Gatekeeper's attack animation. He's also very self-sufficient. He's able to give himself 4 status effects: Null Follow-Up, Vantage, Dodge, and Foe Penalty Doubler, which allows him to counterattack from 1 and 2 range after a single round of combat due to his Prime skill. He's such a fun and powerful unit who's found himself at number 10. Number 9. Halloween Tamera. This is another case of heroes implementing aspects from the mainline games. We're going to be seeing that a lot in this list. Halloween Tamera's weapon, inflicting guard and uncharging opponents' specials, is a clear reference to her personal skill in Engage, Racket of Psalm. She's also got an amazing starting kit, able to stack a ton of damage reduction and return with huge damage. Also, I really like her art, specifically her special art, which is super colorful. She's been one of my favorite melee specialists, and with the addition of the new Distant Counter melee seal soon, she'll be one of my favorite Omni tanks too. Absolutely awesome unit, and I can't wait for a non-seasonal version to be added. Number 8. T. Ira. Due to all the controversy with Ira in Year 1, there's been a bit of a conspiracy that IS didn't want to give Ira another ult. You can imagine my shock when Ira was revealed as a harmonized unit with Mercedes. Finally, the day has come for a new Ira ult. The old school God Sword decided to bring along some crazy new stuff. Her unique special, Supreme Astra, is able to proc again immediately, making some people originally think Ira's weapon had double slaying. She also comes with Flow Desperation, which synergizes really well with Supreme Astra. This is just another case of heroes implementing the gameplay of the mainline games. Her art is amazing, with the special art in particular being my favorite with all the cakes flying around. Plus, her harmonized conversation with Mercedes is pretty solid. Really like Ira a lot, and that's why she's at number 8. Number 7. Fallen Rearmed Chrom. Ever since the addition of Risen King Chrom in Cypher, I wanted IS to add him to Faye really badly. While he isn't quite like his Cypher counterpart, Fallen Chrom is still very awesome. Him being a rearmed unit is especially awesome since it made me completely guilt-free from giving him some stacked fodder. I personally gave him Flared Sparrow, Assassin Strike, and Alarm Attack Speed. His arcane weapon is very powerful too, mainly catering towards speedy units, and Fate Unchanged is a variation of To Change Fate, an extremely powerful and fun assist skill. His art includes some fun Easter eggs as well, including the pose he makes in his attack and special arts, and the injury he received when attacked by the Grima-controlled Robin. He's one of my favorite Fallen units of all time, and he's found himself at number 7. Number 6. Valentine Tumi. Now, I'm sure most people probably thought Valentine Tumi was going to be my number 1 pick of the year. Hell, even I thought so when he first came out. However, there's just one problem. He's an armor save unit. Now, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but I'm starting to find those kinds of units a bit on the boring side. All they do is park their ass next to their ally and focus on enemy phase. Despite that, he's still one of my favorite units of the year. His weapon benefiting from his allies having higher attack than him is a reference to his personal skill in Fates, Competitive, which I found pretty neat. He's able to uncharge the special of red units, which makes him a great counter against nukes like Legendary Hinoka and Valentine's Chrom. Additionally, the gifts in his basket he's carrying matches the outfits of his 2 retainers. Overall, I'm really happy that his first ult in over 4 years is pretty strong, and that's why he's on this list. Number 5. T. Sigard. Sigard is one of my favorite protagonists in Fire Emblem, so you can imagine how happy I was to see him get another ult. He's illustrated yet again by Suzuki Rika, the artist of his legendary ult, and he looks amazing, especially his special art. Chivalric Aura makes him a ranged version of his legendary ult, making him a staple of my Ether Raids defense teams. His weapon, Knightly Manner, is able to prevent counterattacks from most weapon types, greatly improving his survivability. I gave him Defense Resistance Smoke 3, allowing his allies to basically run across the map. We might not have a Genealogy remake quite yet, but we're compensated instead with an awesome new Sigard alt, who has made number 5 on my list. Number 4, Brave Robin. I've always been a big fan of male Robin, and despite not voting for him in CYL 7, instead throwing all my votes to Takumi, I was glad he was able to finally win a CYL. Most people were expecting him to finally have the Levin sword with this ult, but instead, he's given something even cooler. It gives him adaptable damage similar to Hexblade, which is a clear reference to him wielding both physical and magical weaponry as a tactician. He's also able to support his allies with Rally Spectrum, one of my favorite skills from Awakening, and he introduced Gambit, which helped incentivize actually using high cooldown specials. He's also drawn by Wada Sachiko, one of my favorite Heroes artists. I'm really looking forward to the day I get to plus 10 him. I liked Brave Robin so much, I made an episode of Faye references dedicated to him, which if you haven't seen yet, please check it out. I go over all the different trivia and references the unit has. Robin's my pick for my favorite CYL 7 unit, and he makes an impressive number 4 placement on my list. Number 3, Legendary Yuri. Winning the bronze medal is the leader of the Ashen Wolves. Legendary Yuri is basically an upgraded version of his normal self, which is fantastic considering his normal ult is another favorite of mine. Being able to work around stall is extremely useful, as that is one of the biggest weaknesses his original version has. He's also got Foul Ploy, one of the most fun assist skills in the game, and coupled with the Kanto 2 and +1 movement from Fetters of Draw Me, it makes him a very mobile unit. He's also introduced the Hexblade line of skills, an extremely powerful effect that punishes tanks who rely on only their defense or resistance. I like Legendary Yuri so much that after my summoning session video, I went and plus 10 him. A rather painful experience due to the color sharing of Legendary banners, but it was well worth it. I couldn't think of anyone more deserving of 3rd place than Legendary Yuri. Number 2, Rearmed Alfred, or maybe just Alfred. When the Engage units were first being revealed, I'll be honest, Alfred didn't make much of an impression. I mean, let's be real here, he seemed like a discount Dimitri. But after playing Engage, his dedication to working out and his fun and goofy personality shot him straight to number 1 of my favorite Engage characters. In Heroes, he was added as a rearmed unit, adding the first Arcane Lance to the game, Arcane Qiang. While it's definitely not as good as Arcane Lewin, it works well for him due to his lower than average speed. His preferred A skill is something to behold. It gives him visible +10 attack, +5 speed, +20 defense, and -5 resistance. This allows him to deal some insane damage with Bonfire, or even go into an AoE build. Additionally, as a rearm unit, I can give him as much insane fodder guilt-free since he can help with fodder duplication. Easily my favorite Engage unit in Heroes so far. Alfred is a winner of the silver medal on my list.
Scatter like petals.
Before we get to my number 1 favorite unit of 2023, let's go over some honorable mentions. These will be in no particular order. Wind Claude was an absolute terror when he first came out. He was easily the best nuke in the game up until a certain Norian Princess release, able to spam lethality easily while also having great survivability with Deep Star. He's also able to give himself 4 status effects after the first combat, making him self-sufficient and taking advantage of his prime skill. I'll be honest, I was never really a big fan of Gulveig as a character, but as a unit, she's a blast to use. Ranged Gale Force units are really fun to use, just ask my boy Legendary Leaf. Brave Gulveig in particular has been really useful, and when given charge, her movement restriction doesn't bother her at all. Zed was one of my top candidates I wanted to get an Ascendant ult, and I was not disappointed. He's great at spamming specials, and he does some absolutely crazy damage. His outfit being based on leaves is also an interesting choice, a truly worthy inheritor of Forsetti. Legendary Alentia is extremely strong in both combat and support. With aerial maneuvers, she's easily able to hit 4 times before her opponent even has a chance to a counterattack, which usually results in a very dead opponent. Plus, Heart of Crimea has made her extremely unpredictable to face off against, allowing her allies to teleport all over the place. A very fun ally and a very scary opponent. Summer Ephraim is a very interesting unit. He changes attack priority when he initiates combat, which is actually a good thing since it allows him to answer back with a mighty bonfire proc. He also gets +1 movement, which has definitely caught me off guard a couple of times. Honestly, He probably would have made number 10 on my list if not for a certain Prince of Fargus. Summer Male Shez is an extremely powerful unit. I'm honestly surprised he's not a 5-star unit. Instead, IS was generous enough to make him a Grail unit. While he has the same weapon as his female counterpart, albeit as a lance, him being a flyer allows him to use some of the bonker flyer-only skills that were released this year. Plus, we get another dose of Damien Haas, which is always awesome. Another year, another ninja banner. This year's ninja duo was Sanaki and Makaya, and they are extremely powerful, able to inflict a bunch of debuffs and then pierce damage reduction based on those debuffs. She also has one of my favorite tome animations of all time. She's everything Ninja Corn wishes she was. 2023 really was the year of the tactician instead of the rabbit, as we got not just one, but 2 powerful male Robin ults. Legendary Robin's ability to give the Unity effect, aka Grant Strategy, to his allies has made raid bossing even more fun this year. His outfit is based on his Grandmaster outfit, which I've always really liked and preferred over reclassing him to anything else in Awakening. He probably would have made the top 10 if he had better combat himself, though unfortunately, it's not the greatest. Alchris joins Alfred as another engaged unit introduced to heroes as a rearmed unit. His Arcane Darkbow is pretty strong, able to give the wielder the dive bomb effect. His preferred B skill has the Mini Luna effect, which is a reference to his mastered skill of his Tia d'Elite personal class. If you're interested in more trivia of Alchris, please give my favorite references episode of Alchris the watch. Overall, a fun and powerful infantry archer. Kadean Byleth is a fun nuke who's similar to legendary male Byleth, but is also quite different. While he does have Sublime Heaven like his legendary counterpart, instead of having null follow-up, he instead has tempo in his weapon. Additionally, he gets dodge and cannot be slowed down by terrain. A fun 4-star special unit for sure. Hopefully I could get the last few merges in his rerun. Number 1. Legendary Hinoka. Legendary Hinoka is everything I wish a post-conquest Queen Hinoka would be. Based on her High Princess card and cipher, she wields both the Fujin Yumi and the Raijinto. Absolutely badass. She's one of the best nukes in the game with effectiveness against both flyers and armor foes, and is able to avoid counterattacks, making her extremely deadly to take a hit from. Not only is her combat fantastic, but her supportive capabilities are also insane. Her preferred C skill is Rallying Cry, which gives a special cooldown charge +1 effect and charge to her allies, the latter only for flying. This is a reference to chapter 24 of the Conquest Route of Fates, where she gives flyers improved movement. Whenever it's fire season, I always try to find a way to make an absolutely busted flyer team led by the Queen of Hoshido. Her terrifying combat, great support, and awesome outfit easily makes her my favorite unit in 2023. And that about covers my favorite units from 2023. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to comment below who are some of your favorite units from this year. I'd love to hear from you all. Let's all say goodbye to 2023 and look forward to another great year of Fire Emblem heroes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.